back, everybody, to Murg Mayhem, where one take can cause mayhem. This is Wednesday, March the 6th. I hope everyone is having a good morning. Let's get right into it. We don't have a lot of things to talk about. I'm going to try to talk about lots of things as far as, especially for Wednesday. I wasn't able to make, I don't really think I have one as of now as far as what I want to do for Wishful Wednesday just yet. It might pop into my head at the show. Who knows? I'm not really sure. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to make an episode yesterday because I ran behind editing and with Monday last week's and Monday's episode. So I'm gonna put top 5, top 10 list Tuesday as today's special segment. Wednesday we might skip. But yeah, we're gonna get right into it. So we're gonna start off with NBA news today. Lots of games were played yesterday, but to be honest, there were a lot of blowouts yesterday. I mean, we're gonna talk there are 3 games where I'm gonna dive into a little bit, but the other games were just blowouts. The Pelicans blew out the Raptors. The Hawks blew out the Knicks. Magic got blown out. And we're going to talk about the Pacers. They also got blown out, but only reason why I'm talking about them is because, Tyrese Halliburton, and it was a good game. For the first 3 quarters, it was a really good game. Going into the fourth, I think 4 or 5 minutes into the fourth, it wasn't a good game, and then it just started increasing. Spurs and Rockets, that was a good game. Wemby tried his best. Didn't really shoot the greatest last night. He went 4 of 10, while everybody else, Keldon Johnson scored 18. Bram off the bench. Those two were the leading scorers off the bench. Vassell, 9 of 19. So clearly, last night the offense was not ran through Wembanyama. He did have 6 turnovers, so that's maybe if he didn't have any of those turnovers, he either could have got himself more points or got more people involved. But Şengün scored 45, got 16 rebounds, 5 steals, and 3 assists. So he had a career game last night. Jalen Green only missed 12 shots. He got 23, and Fred VanVleet was very efficient, 8 of 15 with 21 points. And then Cam Whitmore off the bench scored 19. So, lots of contributions from those 4 guys right there. And for the Spurs, they just didn't shoot well at all last night, especially from 3. Neither did the Rockets, but once you have that big man presence with Şengün being able to play make like he can, and Wemby can play make as well, but when VanVleet and Green are going, he's got 2 guys he could pass to out of a double team in the post. So Wemby did play defensively. He got 7 blocks last night. So, but yeah, he just had an off game, and the Spurs did not shoot well from 3 at all. So yeah, that's another reason why they lost. That wasn't really a televised game because it's Spurs in Houston. So, but yeah, as far as televised games, we're gonna get into the Pacers. I don't think it was on national televised, but it was a really good game. I mean, Halliburton scored 19, 11 assists. He was able to get the ball movement, get guys going. Miles Turner was the leading scorer for the team. He had 20. Siakam 13. What really got them the victory was also their bench. Their bench points. They have like 5 or 6 guys off the bench averaging 10 or more points. Plus, they also shot very well too. TJ McConnell, he hit 2 threes, and during the broadcast, he's only made like 7 threes the entire year this year because his bread and butter is the mid-range game. But he went 5 of 10 last night. Obi Toppin went 5 of 6. Jalen Smith 4 of 7. Ben Mathurin 7 of 16. Ben Shepherd 4 of 7. And those guys, Toppin 14, Smith 11, TJ McConnell 13, Mathurin 19, and Shepherd 12, compared to Dallas's bench. Hardaway 2 of 8, 6 points. Jarek Jones Jr. 2 points. Gafford 16, Exum 4, Lawson 2, Hardy 2. So, when you have guys that can just come off the bench and score and I feel like Indiana's offense is better than Dallas because there's a lot of stagnant with Luka and Kyrie. And don't get me wrong, they are a great duo, but they take up a lot of shots. PJ Washington had a great game. He had 20 and 7 and really good on the defensive end. And Luka, triple-double, 39, 10, and 11, and Kyrie, 23 points. But, Indiana is one of the best offenses in the league, and Halliburton doesn't even have to score 15 if he averages 15 and 11. So, good team win for the Pacers to blow them out. They blew them out by 17, so it's not really a blowout, but in today's day, it's pretty much a blowout. But yeah, we're gonna go into the Celtics game. The Cavs came back from a 21-point lead. Donovan Mitchell was not playing. Everybody on the Celtics team were healthy. I know that the Celtics were on an 11-game win streak, and they recently played Sunday. The Celtics did. But there's no reason why they should have lost this game. I understand. I understand Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum didn't shoot the ball great at all. 8 of 20 and 8 of 21. Porzingis came back and played. This was his first game back. He scored 24. So it was good to see him moving around healthy again. Drew Holiday, 12. He did his thing. 2 steals, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Al Horford did his thing coming off the bench. He's been starting in Porzingis' absence. But, Horford got 7, 5 rebounds, does what he normally does, being that catch and shoot 3 from the corner. And he's a good 3-point shooter for his size, but he's typically out in the corner somewhere. And then Peyton Pritchard, he did okay. He didn't have a lot of playing time, but he did get 2 points and 5 rebounds and assists in there. But yeah, like I said, they definitely should not have lost this game. Boston. I understand when some guy gets hot. Dean Wade made at least 5 3-pointers go down the stretch in the last 5 minutes. I know he hit 3 crucial ones, but Mobley had an off night, 2 of 8. Garland shot 6 of 20, but he was able to be a good playmaker as he is. Ended up getting 11 assists with 16 points. But yeah, it really, Cleveland, I don't think they're a title contender, but there was a foul. I'll get to the foul in a second, but Cleveland, I guess when they start getting rolling from the 3, it is hard to stop because Evan Mobley can shoot it. Okoro's gotten way better since he's gotten into the league. He went 4 of 8 yesterday. Dean Wade, like I just mentioned, he went 6 of 9 from 3 last night. Niang went 3 of 4. So they do have shooters around that team. And when Mitchell's in there, he's always a threat too. But yeah, there was a foul that was committed on Garland originally, but then it got overturned. I don't that you could have called either way. Um, if they would have called it the foul, the Celtics would have won last night. But I mean, the contact was a little incidental because it was on a closeout. He did get him in the chest, so I don't really think that it was. I mean, it depended on the ref. The ref last night overturned it because he said it was incidental contact, and Jason Tatum's leg kicked out too. So, they said that it counter interacted, so it didn't affect the play whatsoever. So, but yeah, I mean, Boston's still the best team in the NBA. They just had a rough. They weren't able to hit a shot the last 7 minutes or so because Cavs went on like a 36 to like 2 or 7 run or something, and that's what basketball is. It's a game of runs, and they weren't able to hit a shot really in the fourth quarter down the stretch. So, good win from Cleveland. Strus did not play either, so Max Strus and Donovan Mitchell didn't play last night. So, even if they did lose, it wouldn't be like, oh, okay, we see why they lost. Two guys didn't play, So, but yeah, good win for Cleveland. And the last game I was gonna discuss is the Suns and Denver. The Nuggets were down by 20 or more points going into the third. That point, I was like, well, should I keep watching it because they are down by 20 or more? But, you really can't count out the Nuggets, even though Gordon had an off night of 3 of 10. As far as the starter, he only had 7 points, but he did what he could against Kevin Durant defensively. Nurkic fouled out I think early in the fourth or so. I can't remember when he fouled out, but he got 12 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals and 2 blocks. So it did hurt them when he left the game just due to the size factor, and Eubanks only being 6'9" did what he could with Jokic's size, but Eubanks came off the bench, scored 10. The bench for Phoenix didn't perform very well last night. Gordon went 1 of 7. Bol only played 13 minutes. So they didn't. The rotation last night was basically Gordon and Eubanks for the most part. Saban Lee came in, had a monster dunk, but that was about it. That's all really he contributed. But yeah, Royce O'Neal played really good defense down the stretch on Jamal Murray. Bradley Beal didn't shoot the ball great, 6 of 18, but he scored 16 points. Kevin Durant basically shot the ball most of the time, 14 to 34. So as far as efficiency, it wasn't the Kevin Durant that we know, but he ended up getting 35. And to go back on Bradley Beal being 6 of 18, it's not, I'm going to correct myself, it's not, he didn't shoot the ball great, but he didn't shoot the ball terrible either. But, he missed 12 shots. And Grayson Allen, 9 of 15, 8 of 12 from 3. So Grayson Allen did score 28. So that was he had a really good game last night. Helped make a lead. The one thing that Suns failed was to get the lead, to maintain that lead, and they allowed Denver to come back and make it an overtime game. Jokic had a really good game last night, 25 and 16. Jamal Murray, 28, 7, and 9. So, and then in overtime, Durant outscored the Nuggets by himself. So, that's just greatness coming in, closing the deal. It was a really good game. There's really nothing else to say other than, maintain the lead and, don't let it come down to overtime and have Kevin Durant just outscore you. That's basically all that happened last night in the NBA. as far as games played. Now, as far as NBA news is concerned, Patty Mills, in the last episode, I talked that he got waived by the Atlanta Hawks. He did get signed to Miami. I don't know what kind of role he's going to have with Miami. I do know that since he does have lots of playoff experience with the Spurs and with the Nets, when KD and Kyrie were there, that he's a very valuable asset to that Heat team. I'm going to see, at least as far as the depth chart goes, what like who he's got as far as competition, because as far as like competition or whatever, Gabe Vincent's with the Lakers, and I think they only have like Tyler Hero, but he's not really a one. Um, I don't even think they added him to the roster yet, because oh yeah, they did. So as far as point guards, I mean, they have Tyler Hero, but he's really a two. Um, but yeah, as far as point guard position, he's the only one, the only other point guard. But I mean, they have Jaime Jaquez listed as a guard, but I don't know if you would consider him a two or a three. If he's a three, he's a little undersized, but I would say he's a two. And Terry Rozier's a two. So they have a lot of shooting guards that can play the point. Delon Wright's a point guard, I would say. Um, I didn't. They have him as a 6'5". I thought he was shorter than that. He doesn't look 6'5" to me on TV, um, but yeah, they have lots of younger guys, so he's probably just going to be that Udonis Haslem postseason experience type of role. But yeah, he got signed to Miami. That's really all the NBA news yesterday. I'm going to talk a lot about baseball just because I feel like I've been behind on the baseball teams covering as far as like which team has could be a playoff contender or just what the team is in general. But before we do that, we're going to get into some other signings that happened yesterday. So Brad Miller, utility man, journeyman, was signed to the Padres to a minor league deal. I'm not really sure how much he's getting paid, but he's a very versatile defender. He can play first. He can play basically all the infield positions except for catcher and pitcher, obviously, and he can play the corner outfield positions. Last year he wasn't given a lot of playing time. He only played 27 games in the big league level. But his best year was with Philly, the second half of the year with Philly. He had 263 with 12 homers and 21 RBIs in 66 games. But as far as a full year is concerned, as far as a full year, it was Seattle. Well, I don't know. As far as average goes, yes, he had the best average of his career for a full season in Seattle. But his best year from top to bottom is in 2016. He had 30 homers, 81 RBIs, and he had an OPS of 786 with 304 on base and 482 slugging. So that was his best year throughout because he played 152 games. But yeah, I mean, he can bring a lot of value to the Padres as far as versatility. They lost Matt Carpenter, even though Matt Carpenter didn't play very many games with the Padres. But as far as a left-handed bat, they need a platoon of left-handed bats just because Juan Soto is gone. Now I feel like Jurickson Profar will be that left fielder for him, but who knows what can happen until then. But yeah, Brad Miller going to the Padres. The other signing or going to be signed, Ronald Acuna's brother, is 12 years old in Venezuela. The Phillies are planning to sign him when he's old enough. He's only 12 years old. The signing age for an international prospect is 16. Um, I forgot his name, but he's with the Padres. I think his name is Ethan Salas. He's 16, and he's in the Double A level already. Um, he's a 17-year-old kid, and he's a catcher. He's the youngest to ever play in a spring training game last year at like 16 or 17. But yeah, Ronald Acuña Jr. Ronald Acuña, blah, wow, damn. Ronald Acuña's brother is planning on signing with the Phillies when he gets to the age of 16. The other news that happened yesterday is Josh Donaldson finally retired. Um, I mean, he had a very good career. His later half of his career was not the greatest. I wish he would have performed better. Um, as far as with the Yankees. Um, I mean, when he was with the Twins, he had a really good year, but when he went to New York, it just seemed like he wasn't himself. Um, plus, his story is very inspirational. Um, when he was a child, when he was growing up, he didn't have the best upbringing in the world. His dad wasn't the best role model, and he was dealing with a single mom as well. And then he comes up and makes himself into the baseball player that he is, going to Auburn, and then, going to Oakland, and then in 2012. In 2012, he had a decent rookie year, 240 with the A's, and then that next year, bam, he hit 301, fourth in MVP voting, 24 homers, 93 RBIs. Basically came on the scene, and started dominating. And then from the span of 2014 to 2016, he was an all-star every year. 2015, he won AL MVP, Silver Slugger, All-Star, like I just mentioned. His MVP year, he had 123 RBIs, league leader, 41 homers, 122 runs, 297 average, 939 OPS. So his best season in his career. I will say this with Josh Donaldson in that Toronto Blue Jays team from 2015. It just seems like every time people play in Toronto, or at least when the Blue Jays do, the ball just flies there. A lot of home runs happen for some reason. I don't know if that's just the park, or that's just something that I've just noticed, is that the ball flies in Toronto. From in my opinion, when everyone started hitting home runs and stuff, the Toronto Blue Jays, I feel like, were the team that made it popular to hit home runs, because they had Jose Bautista, Edwin Encarnacion, and Josh Donaldson. And then Troy Tulowitzki was there when he was healthy. Elvis Andrus was there, even though Elvis Andrus wasn't. No, not Elvis Andrus. Jose Reyes. My bad. Jose Reyes was there. Even though he's not really a power hitter. And now they're still a team that can hit home runs with Guerrero Jr., Bichette, and Matt Chapman, or he used to be. But yeah, it just seems like the ball just flies there, and that Toronto team with those big three guys just made it seem like that was the team that started making home runs popular, or at least wanting to hit home runs. But yeah, Josh Donaldson will be remembered mainly as a Blue Jay for his career, because he played in Toronto about 4 years, and he played in Oakland 4 years as well, but his better years in his career were with Toronto. He then got got traded to the Indians in 2018. Helped him get to the postseason, I think. I'm pretty sure. But they didn't really go far into the playoffs. 2020 shortened season, so a lot of people don't really hold that season against them. 2021 with the Twins, 247. His OPS throughout his whole career since 2013 to about 2021 was about 790 to over 800. And then his year, the year before he started dipping, was with the Twins. He had 26 homers, 72 RBIs, 247 average, 800 plus OPS. But with that Minnesota Twins team, they also had Nelson Cruz, Eddie Rosario, Jorge Polanco, Mitch Garver, I believe, was still there. Max Kepler was there. Byron Buxton. So they had a really, really good team. I don't know if I mentioned Nelson Cruz, but they had a power. And then Miguel Sano, I don't know if I said his name or not. I just started saying names that came to my head of the players that were on the team. But yeah, they had a really, really good, powerful team. I think that year they set the MLB record for, or now the Braves have it, but the most homers they had at the time, the most homers by any team in the regular season in MLB history. So he was a big part of that. And then New York, he just declined. As far as average, it declined 20 points, but the home run output dropped by 11, and so did his RBIs drop by 10. So the productivity factor went down. But, when you have the Yankees that just are notorious for striking out, it's really not his fault. As far as strikeouts, he's a guy that's going to strike out over 115 times. So they knew what they were getting. I just don't understand why he just got a lot of blame for it. But yeah, he didn't have a great year in 2022, and then 23 last year was his last year with them and the Brewers. But yeah, he had a really good career. I hope he has a good retirement. Hall of Fame, I don't think so. He doesn't have the All-Star appearances or the amount of Silver Sluggers to get it, and he doesn't have the numbers as well. If he had about 350 homers, when he has 279 for his career. If he had 350, maybe, and if his average was a little bit better, sure. His career OPS is 847. His career WAR is 46.8. So I don't know. I don't think so. He's definitely not a first ballot, but I'm not really sure if he can get in after that. But yeah, the only other headline, there's two headlines. Eddie Rosario, as far as a signing, I just got this morning. He's going to the Nationals for, I believe, a 1 year, $4 million contract with incentives. So I don't really know how much he's going to get paid. But Eddie Rosario is a guy that did help with the Braves 2021 World Series win. He definitely dominated the Dodgers in that postseason series against the Astros. I mean, he hit 227, so it was a drop off. But like I said, with the Dodgers, he hit 560 with 3 home runs, 9 RBIs. He did take Walker Buehler deep, I think, off the foul pole. I don't know if it was him, but it was a right-handed pitcher. But yeah, he was a big contributor with that team because Ronald Acuna Jr. was injured. So Braves traded for him, for Rosario, Duvall, Peterson, and Soler. So yeah, they got those 4 guys to help replenish one guy. But yeah, last year with the Braves, he had 255, 21 homers. So he didn't have a bad year at all, as far as today's MLB is concerned with average. But yeah, he didn't have a bad year. I really wish that he didn't go to the Nationals, just because. I mean, like they're not going to go anywhere. Like if he's going, he's probably just going there to play, which I definitely understand. It's just with the guy that he did play 142 games for the Braves last year. I don't know if he just wanted more money and the Braves just couldn't give it to him because they have so much money in Olsen, Strider, Acuna, Albies, and Riley. So I understand, and then Michael Harris too. They signed him to a really big deal. So I understand if he's going there for money. It's just kind of it's gonna suck because he's not gonna do anything in Washington. Um, but yeah, he's going to Washington, and then Sonny Gray, in spring training. I don't know when this was in spring training, but he did aggravate a hamstring injury. He was going to be the opening day starter for the St. Louis Cardinals. So as a Cardinals fan, I am disappointed, just because we needed him to be our opening day starter because I don't necessarily trust Miles Michaelis right now. I don't really trust the whole starting rotation right now, but we'll get into this in that a little bit later, as far when I dive into the Cardinals and see and show you where I think they can go. But yeah, opening day starter still up for grabs now. I would give it to Lance Lynn just because of how much he has meant to the Cardinals organization, um, over guys like Kyle Gibson or Miles Michaelis. That's just me, but yeah, that's all the baseball news that we've had there. Um, Now we're gonna get into the where I talk about the 30 clubs in 30 days thing, which probably not gonna be in 30 days to be honest, just because I have lots of. I don't think I'll be able to make it in time as far as the 30 clubs in 30 days or whatever. So we're talk about the last two teams in the American West and the AL West, and finally get done with one division. So the last two teams I have to talk about in this division are the Rangers and Athletics. We're going to start off with the A's because they're going to be the shortest because I don't know who's on the team, to be honest with you, because of how insignificant they've been in the last decade. Or so. So, so we're going to start off with the rotation. Their rotation isn't the worst. Paul Blackburn was an all-star for them in 21, I believe. Last year, I know that he's been struggling with injuries, so he had a rough time with injuries the past 2 years. Last year he went 4-7, ERA under 4.5. I mean, when you have a team like Oakland that can't get you runs and you're pitching your butt off, like it's gonna be hard for you to win games. So like I don't really think he's a bad pitcher per se. It's just he's on a bad team. The other starters that I feel like are going to help out with this rotation, Alex Wood and Ross Stripling, they just got added to the rotation during free agency. And JP Sears, I don't know if this was his rookie year last year. I really don't know what to say. At all about Oakland, to be honest with you. When he was with the Yankees last year in 22, well, not last year, but 2 years ago when he was with the Yankees, he had a 2.05 ERA, and then went to Oakland, got traded in Oakland, and then. So, I mean, with the Yankees, it was a different situation because they are a significantly better team. But, I don't really think their pitching is all that bad now that they have four guys if they do a four-man rotation. Their fifth starter, I'm not really sure who it's going to be. Um, it's probably Luis Mendina, most likely. Um, but as far as bullpen, terrible bullpen, just because they don't want to sign anyone. Um, Scott Alexander is probably their best arm, along with Sean Newcomb, just because those two guys are veteran guys that have been in the league for a long time. Sean Newcomb with the Braves and Scott Alexander with the Giants and the Dodgers, and um, been in postseason experiences. Both of them have. As far as their depth chart goes, catchers most likely be Langoliers. He had a really good start last year, and then just went mid. Tyler Soderstrom, their catcher, is I'm gonna. There we go. They. It's not. He started. He won the futures game last year. Um, didn't have a lot of big league time last year, but he's going to be that backup catcher. Carlos Perez, I don't know. He just looks old. um, but yeah, he should definitely be promoted to bullpen catcher. This guy, who knows? First base. Basically, Oakland's a lot of nobodies. Everybody. Zach Geloff did get drafted in 21. He did play most of the year last year, so he's going to be that second baseman for him. Didn't do too bad either. Posted 267 average as a rookie, 14 homers, 32 RBIs, 14 stolen bases. So he's going to be their second baseman moving forward. I really do think that as far as Oakland's draft picks these last few years, they got Max Muncy as a shortstop, and then I forgot who else. They drafted some kid from last year in the draft. It was like 6th overall or something, but he's a shortstop too. So they're gonna have a good middle infield in the future. Third base, I don't care. Shortstop, I don't care. Don't really know anybody. And then JJ Bleday was with the Marlins. He did have a good year with them, and then he got traded to Oakland. He's a really solid player. I just really think he just needs lots of playing time. The average, he had a terrible year last year, don't get me wrong. But when he was with the Marlins, he was... the games that I saw, he showed glimpses of greatness of what he could be. It just sucks that he's not able to get the playing time either. So you see these averages, and you're only seeing 65 to 80 games, when you see other outfielders getting over 100. So I don't know if it's due to injuries, but he is 26, so there's time left. I just really think that he needs a lot of playing time. Center field is probably going to be Ruiz. He got 50 stolen bases last year, so he's probably going to be their center fielder moving forward. Butler did play a little bit last year. I don't know how many games he played last year for them. 42. He played the second half. But yeah, their outfield, they have lots of decisions to make in the outfield. And then right field is most likely going to be the Seth Brown. He's been the longest tenure with them, I guess, with Oakland, with Aledmus Diaz, and what's his face, Blackburn. So I don't know. Brent Rooker had a good rookie year as an all-star. Outfield, definitely not for him. He should try to convert to first base. If not, they have him listed as the DH. 246. He had 30 homers last year as a rookie. He is 29, so he's not going to be in the league for very long. I don't think. Oh, he's from Germantown, Tennessee. Awesome. But yeah, I mean, he's his career is numbered just because of his age. But I mean, shit. If Oakland's not going to pay anybody, he's going to be there. As far as my um, as far as like my take on Oakland, they're going to be they're going to be the worst team in baseball. If not the worst, one of the worst teams in baseball. So there's really nothing to talk about now with Oakland. Now to finish this division, we're going to talk about the Rangers. I didn't talk about the Rangers, I don't think. But if I did, then we're just going to finish it out here, or talk about them some more. So they're starting a rotation, elite. Nathan Eovaldi was the captain of that rotation last year, especially during the postseason. Nathan Eovaldi had arguably a Cy Young year. I know that ERA is up, but during the postseason, postseason cumulative, he had a 2.95 ERA, 36 innings, and I'm trying to find strikeouts, 41 Ks, with a whip of 1.12. So as far as his postseason goes, Cy Young, almost. But yeah, he had a great year, All-Star, 12. I'm pretty sure, 12-5 record. So he was a really good piece that they signed last year during the offseason. John Gray was pretty solid for him. Andrew Heaney, up and down, but he has a weird motion, so it throws a lot of people off. Dane Dunning was a good trade acquisition from the White Sox. Jacob deGrom didn't pitch. Here's wishful Wednesday. I hope that Jacob deGrom, I wish that he's healthy. I wish that he and Max Scherzer are healthy, because them two together, good God. I mean, when Jacob deGrom is healthy, he's the best pitcher in baseball by far, no debate. Max Scherzer, future ballot Hall of Famer. Jacob deGrom, in my opinion, is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I know he doesn't have a ring, and he hasn't really pitched that long, but he's got he's got the stuff. I mean, as far as Nolan Ryan comparison, as far as fastball, he could throw that fastball and slider every time. They could tell you that it's coming, and he's still hard to hit. Shout out Houston. And then I mean, their rotation elite, A+. Bullpen, disgusting. I really think since they did lose Chapman, I feel like that's also going to hurt them. So I feel like they do need to try to get a lefty. If they want to get anywhere close to Chapman, Rangers try to trade for Alvarado from Philly. But as far as bullpen, I feel like now it's a B+, because Chapman is an elite arm still at his age. Jose Leclerc, I want to say he's an elite arm, but he's an A- arm. He's a pretty solid closer. Spores, got the last out in the World Series, I think. David Robertson, excuse me, veteran, pitched with the Yankees, Mets, pitched basically all over. Journeyman David Robertson. Kirby Yates wasn't the closer that he was in San Diego, but he is still a pretty decent pitcher. And as far as reliever, because he was with the Braves a few years ago. Doesn't throw very hard, but he does have a nasty splitter, and he's got a slider that, and his slider and splitter are about the same velo. So as far as mixing the speeds up, he's pretty decent. Dane Dunning has been in the starting rotation and bullpen, so that's also very valuable to have. This guy, I have no idea, and I mean they have one lefty, so they need another one. Catcher, they did lose Mitch Garver to the Twins. No. Shoot, I forgot where Mitch Garver went. Looking that up right now. Mitch Garver went to the Mariners. Yeah, my bad. But yeah, he went to the Mariners, so they did lose that really good backup catcher. I didn't know that Kisner, I guess that's how you pronounce his name. He was with the Cardinals last year, now with the Rangers, and then Sam Huff hasn't gotten a lot of opportunities to play. For Texas, he was on one of their top 100 prospect lists, but in his time, 256 average, 3 homers. I mean, this is only 43 at bats, and he's pretty solid. His OPS is 800. Which is 21 games. So he's not performing bad at all. It's just he's not getting the playing time. And I feel like if he doesn't get any more playing time, not only are they going to cut him, but I feel like other teams are going to want to trade for him just because of his performance in the short amount of time. So Texas Rangers, hold on to this guy. First base, Nathaniel Lowe. I don't really know who that guy is, but Nathaniel Lowe, one of the best first basemen in the league, at least a top 10 for sure. I mean, these guys are the reigning world champs. So this team is stacked regardless of what you say about the Rangers. Nathaniel Lowe, like I said, top 10 first baseman. Marcus Semien, top 3 second baseman in the league. With Toronto, he set the record for most homers by a second baseman ever. 276 average, 20, almost 30 homers, 100 RBI season. Just this alone is like, okay, yeah, top 3 for sure. Third base, Josh Young had a great rookie year. I don't know who won Rookie of the Year in the American League. Rookie of the Year in the American League last year was Gunnar Henderson. So Gunnar Henderson did have a really good year as well last year. Josh Young, though, as a rookie, 266, 20. I mean, this is a solid rookie year, man. And he won he won the World Series. And he's 26. So they're cornerstones. Not only do they have Simeon for about 10 years, he's going to be there for a long time too. Ezekiel Duran, starting the outfield. And even with him, I mean, this isn't even a bad year for a guy that's a versatile defender, outfield, infielder. Not a power guy per se, but he's a guy that can get on base. Like I said, 309. It's not like the best in the world, but he gets on base. And he's fast. So he didn't record a lot of stolen bases last year, but he does give you that threat in a way. Shortstop Corey Seager going to also be there. Could have won MVP, but Shohei was unanimous. I don't really think Seager was the only person that could contend with him on that, just because he had 327, 33 homers, and 96 RBIs. Because he did play the let's just see how many games he played. Because I know Ohtani took the last month off because of his arm. But yeah, I mean, 119 games. I still think that Ohtani deserved it more just because of how long he played. Plus, Ohtani hit more homers than Seager and had more RBIs. But, World Series MVP, Seager. If Adolis Garcia, which He is in the right field spot. Didn't get injured, he would have been MVP in my opinion. But left field's kind of a question mark. I do think Duran will be able to get that DH. Well, he's going to get the DH spot because that's where he's listed right here. But as far as defensively, I'm not really sure. Evan Carter might be a better defender, but Evan Carter, also as a rookie, played the second half and destroyed the MLB. Second half of the year, 306, 5 homers, 12 RBIs in the last few games of regular season. In the postseason, he also tore it up. He hit 300. So could this be a fluke? Maybe. We have no idea. I hope it's not, just because it's just crazy that him and Josh Young as rookies were able to win it, their rookie year. I think Duran might have been a rookie. I'm not really sure, but I've clicked on his name so many times, or hovered over it. So, but yeah, center field, Tavares is most likely going to be the guy, just because he's the better defender and can cover more ground, and he's fast, and even he had a great year. Right field, Adolis Garcia is the right fielder, no question. And then, so as far as AL West goes, it's going to be between these guys and the Houston Astros. All that I wish for is that these two guys stay healthy and that he doesn't throw cutters and meatballs over the plate, because that's what happened last year too. Sometimes when he would pitch, his command would be an issue. But Max Scherzer is one of the best to ever do it. And plus, I just feel like he's not the game one starter anymore. He's he's going to be that game 3 starter like Kershaw is for the Dodgers. But yeah, Jacob deGrom, I wish that he gets healthy. I really do, because I feel like he's a first ballot Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. So as far as sports news and everything that goes, that is it. As far as the Tuesday special segment, it's my 5 movies that I take to a desert island. First, it's in no particular order because I can't rank these movies better than the other. Revenge of the Sith has got to be in there. Not only is the score perfect with Battles of the Heroes and the Jedi Temple March, the choreography, the fight choreography was really, really impressive. Hayden Christensen, not a lot of people liked him as Anakin back then, but now everyone's like, oh my gosh, we love him. We cannot stop raving about Hayden Christensen. I'm glad that he got the tribute that he deserved in Kenobi and now in Ahsoka. I'm glad that he's back in Star Wars again, because he did got a lot of hate for it. But yeah, plus we got to see the coming of Darth Vader, how he became Darth Vader, and Anakin is the chosen one. I know a lot of people saying Rey, if you're in people, or as she called herself, Rey Skywalker. Oh! Ew! Dude! What the fuck? No, Anakin is the chosen one, and yeah, that it was a beautiful movie. So I have that one in there. This is going to shock a lot of people, but I don't really watch musicals at all. I don't. I've never really been a musical person. But I don't know, something about the Steven Spielberg West Side Story. I didn't want to see it at all, but then it kept popping up. I'm like, because there was one that came out early in like the 1960s or 1970s or something. And I was like, I knew it was a classic movie, and I love classic movies. It's got to be, I was like, okay, I'll go see it. If it's a classic movie, then I'll go see this one. And I saw the classic one as well. And newest remake of it, I guess you could call it that, um, for the new generation was spectacular. Um, Rachel Ziegler, I know she's gotten a lot of hate for some of the things she said about Snow White. I don't agree with what she said either, but she does have a really good voice, and the chemistry between her and Ansel Elgort was phenomenal. It was really, really, you could feel the love story between them. Um, and they brought back the person who played Maria to play Ansel Elgort's employer. I guess I forgot her name, but yeah, it was. You got to also feel some type of. You got to see the setting of what it was like back in that time, and is and then I don't know. It's just the music, the singing, the choreography with dancing was phenomenal. It was incredible. The third movie, I guess that you could say would be Avatar, by James Cameron. The very first movie of its kind. Not only do you hear the score, um, with the different instrumentals, um, but you got the visual effects, with the VFX stuff. It was the first of its kind. You never really saw a movie that was lots of motion capture. Um, I know Andy Serkis got famous for it. He was the first one to do it with Gollum and with Planet of the Apes. Um, Gollum is what he's famous for, but I mean this movie, not only is it the most highest grossing film of all time, it's it's a one of one. I mean, I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's Ferngully. Shut the fuck up. No, like I understand what your argument is, but it's not. Definitely not. Um, but yeah, I mean, and now Avatar 2. So I don't really know if you combine Avatar and Avatar 2, because a lot of people tend to mash up um, Endgame and Infinity War together, because it is one movie technically, but um, so I don't know if you just put the Avatar franchise in there to kind of cheat to put more movies, but right now I'm putting Avatar by just the first one, because the first one will always be better than typically the entire series, like Iron Man, for example. And then number 4, Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire. I thought about putting the first one in there, but the first one was corny as hell. And Willem Dafoe is great. He's a great Green Goblin. Um, it was tough because we got Willem Dafoe, and the first movie was so iconic, and then the second one, it got even better with Doc Ock and the relationship with Peter Parker and Alfred Molina, Doc Ock, Otto Octavius. That's his character. That's his name. Wow, I don't know why it took me that long to figure out his name, but yeah, that dynamic, plus the with him losing his powers and trying to understand who Spider-Man is, and trying to balance those two, like I'm trying to balance this with everything else, and learning that Spider-Man, from Harry's point of view, that Pete as Spider-Man killed his father. Sorry, So it's a lot. It's one of the best Spider-Man movies ever made. Rivals No Way Home, just because they brought all three. And then number 5. 5 was tough because there's so many movies and you had to pick 5. I'm going Toy Story on this one. It's one of the best Pixar movies of all time, one of the best Disney movies, period, of all time. I didn't know as far as what other movie to pick, but me growing up, Toy Story was my movie that I watched all the time. Growing up, I had Buzz, Woody. I made them watch it with me. So it was a good. It's always a classic. You can never go wrong with Toy Story. Um, so yeah, that's my top five that I would bring to a desert island. Um, I didn't know really what top five or movies to a desert island or top five Disney movies of all time because I was watching Disney movies last night, and I just didn't know which one to, which list to do, but I chose Desert Island instead. So that is all for today. Hopefully there'll be more news to report tonight. Or for tomorrow. I do have the late shift, so I might not be able to put this episode up before then. So this episode might be out on the 7th, which is a Thursday. But yeah, I hope everyone has a good rest of their day. I hope everyone's week is turning out for the better. And I hope that you have a good rest of your day. And I'll see you next time. Peace out, you guys.